Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about the new Star Wars TV shows and movies that are currently in the works by Disney, LUCASFILM, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni, and others out there, that's really going to fulfill the entire universe at hand. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars that a lot of fans are really looking forward to has a lot to do with the fact that they are indeed going to be bringing in tons of Star Wars Legends characters, as well as characters from Rebels, such as Ezra Bridger, Grand Admiral Thrawn, and on the side note, we even have Sabine Wren coming into the actual Ahsoka Tano TV show. So there's a lot of animated characters coming to life. There's a lot of Legends characters coming to life, such as Kyle Katarn. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. There's a lot of things happening at the hands of both Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and George Lucas, and how they really want to combine both a Disney canon and the already existing Star Wars Legends that was actually put out there into the world many years ago. Now, on top of all of this, alright, one thing that a lot of fans have been very intrigued about has a lot to do with the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, which, by the way, guys, in case you guys did not know, we will be getting a lot of footage in just a short number of days from now, and a lot of new promo images, a lot more, promotional material for the actual TV series that's going to really build the hype for the show before it releases on May 27th. And by the way, on May 27th, they're going to be unveiling 2 episodes in one day, so just keep aware of that. Now, on top of all of this, alright, what's really exciting has a lot to do with what they have planned for the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series in general, with of course both Disney and Lucasfilm now focused on their new Star Wars projects like Star Wars Ahsoka, and even the 4th season of Mando. Creators Favreau and Filoni are actively developing their new Star Wars TV shows that will be unveiled in the near future as well. Now, it's described that currently, however, director Deborah Chow has recently been in the talks with Disney CEO Bob Chapek on expanding the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series into a multi-season show, and that Chapek is making the Kenobi series to at least be 3 seasons long to serve as a beginning, middle, and end. One big thing that they do have planned for the 2nd season of Kenobi has a ton to do with the Kenobi character and who he will be interacting with. Now, Disney already has plans to bring back Mace Windu into the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show's 2nd season to explain exactly how he survived the fall in Episode 3 by the hands of Palpatine, and that fans are going to be able to witness a different take on Mace Windu that will take place roughly 12 years after the events of Episode 3. Now, right now, Disney's plan is to make Season 2 based 2 years after the events of where the 1st season ends. The 2nd season is described to involve tons of new interactions between both Kenobi and Mace Windu, and that the 3rd season, of course, is going to have even more reveals. Now, the season, of course, is actually going to be planned and set up by Deborah Chow, and will be, of course, a season that actually involves all of the relevant Jedi that have been in hiding from the Empire for over a decade. So let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, that I think is a brilliant idea of how the Kenobi series is going to have a theme where it kind of dives into hidden Jedi across the galaxy, where it's going to start off with Season 1, where it focuses on Kenobi being the Jedi in hiding. Then Season 2, it's going to focus on Mace Windu as the other Jedi in hiding. And it's going to progress from there. Now, so far, they only want to make the Kenobi show, mind you, 3 seasons long only and strictly before they move on to spin-off shows of the Kenobi show. And a prime example is, of course, it could very well have something to do with the Inquisitors or some of the other characters implemented into the show for all we know. Kind of like what they did with The Mandalorian and how a lot of the cameos in there got their own shows, like Boba Fett and Ahsoka Tano is a great example. Now, Mace Windu coming back, obviously a lot of fans are going to be very touchy on that because some fans believe that characters just keep coming back to life in Star Wars and it's kind of devaluing the actual depth of the character and really kind of making it seem as if characters that die are not going to remain dead. That's how a lot of fans are feeling right now. And honestly, I think that at the end of the day, everybody knew or at least a good chunk of fans knew, that there was always a chance that Mace Windu was still alive out there. Even George Lucas said this. Even Sam Jackson said this, that George said it's very much possible that he just landed on a building, or, you know, was able to land on some kind of structure that allowed him to survive. Now, of course, Sam Jackson already talked with Bob Chapek and Deborah Chow about his return as Mace in the second series, which they are planning to continue by the end of 2024. Now, originally, Deborah Chow, alright, who's the director, by the way, actually wanted to include Mace Windu into the first season of the show, and that Mace was planned to be a big cameo. However, instead, Deborah decided to call the shots on taking the character out of the series and to focus on an even more relevant character's return, who is said to be Qui-Gon Jinn's Force Ghost that is set to appear by the very end of the first season of the series. And that's another thing to be very well excited about, is that Liam Neeson is said to return as Qui-Gon in the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show toward the end of the season, so keep your eyes open for that. Now, both Favreau and Filoni are described to be the ones handling on how Mace Windu will be designed for the Kenobi series, as they believe this needs to be handled very carefully. However, Favreau and Filoni are not just bringing back Mace Windu for fan service or for satisfaction, but that they are, of course, set to be having a plan and put in place here to actually have a more deep and more involved revelation that will make everything come together as to why Mace Windu will now be involved in the Kenobi series. However, Kathleen Kennedy believes that bringing back Mace Windu is a big mistake and is only going to make the series weakened by a ton. Now, obviously, that's no surprise by Kathleen Kennedy. We talked about this before in the past, that when she still held creative power, you guys may have forgotten about this already, but when she still had creative power, she actually forced the creators to rewrite the Kenobi show. And that's exactly why we did not get this series earlier than we expected. In fact, initially they wanted to drop this thing even sometime during 2021, and that did not end up being the case because of all the different rewrites and such. In the end, it kind of worked out for the better because, you know, we have a lot of projects on the line, and they got to make room for those projects to actually boost hype and really get the fans intrigued. So, the other thing that I think is very crucial about all of this is exactly the fact that Sam Jackson is involved in a multi-show deal for the Star Wars universe. This, of course, includes the Kenobi series and other TV shows that are actually going to span different eras. So we're going to be getting different versions of Mace Windu, and we talked about this before, of how he is set to appear in The Mandalorian Season 4 as his elderly self, showing us a Mace Windu that is far, far older, alright? And I think that's going to eventually kind of dive into exactly how he passes on and becomes one with the Force, and why we hear his Force Ghost voice in The Rise of Skywalker. That is exactly what it's coming off as, is that Favreau and Filoni have him involved also in the Mandoverse to eventually explain his demise and exactly how he dies and becomes one with the Force. So, like I say, I think that Sam Jackson always deserved to come back just as much as Hayden deserved to come back into Star Wars. It's been a very long time, and, you know, these two actors, I mean, let's face it, they love Star Wars. They really do. So, with that being said, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding on the one from night to moon.